So if you're applying what we are teaching, you're staying for a while at least ahead of what is actually required from a building physics, building science perspective, because you're so much ahead of where the regulation is. However, we can't wait for a regulation. The regulation is not changing. The regulation is adjusting through realities. So what do I mean? Welcome to Passivhaus Weekly number 5 today. And if you've been following us, this is now over a month of content already for you. And you know already that it's good for your clients. But what about you? Why should you actually do it? Are you actually benefiting from it? Obviously, your conscience will benefit from it. What you can't live on just better conscience. Yeah, you need to as well get a return of investment from that. And that's what we're talking about it. And here I want to tell you a little bit the story about Julia and myself as well, how everything was happening. When I started with this whole Passivhaus HUB idea and teaching, nobody believed that it is possible to actually live on Passivhaus education. Yeah, that was back in the day. I said, no, that can't be a business. Nobody was feeling confident in doing it. And at the end, I said, yes, I give it a try. The Australian Passivhaus Association actually gave me money to teach back in the day and say, yeah, Daniel, please fly over and do the teaching. And then the students paid obviously as well. And now we're at the situation that we're actually paying 3 families visit. Yeah. So Julia is paid visit and her family. Then Nala is paid visit and I'm paying myself as well. So, this was unbelievable 7 years back now. It's crazy. But now that is reality. And it's what we really stand for. Similar to Julia. Julia did the course back in the day and then she couldn't stop any longer. So maybe you want to tell a little bit what happened to you.
Yeah, totally. So it started really as a passion because I thought, something is missing in my life. I was I felt a little bit stuck in architecture, and I saw that buildings weren't built the way that I was used to from back in Germany. And I did the course, and it started more as a passion and thinking like I have to do something for the environment. But yeah, it ended up, as Daniel said, now I'm completely in it. Passivhaus is my whole, that's what I do now, teach Passivhaus, and it became a job on top of being a passion. And it's really great that, we can now live with this teaching what is important. And that's perfect.
So if I remember right, when you did the course, you were at that time unemployed and you were looking for like a new direction.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And the only reason that you actually did it, because you were actually financially thinking like 3 kids at home and can we actually afford it? But the reason you at the end did it is because that was the only time I was actually teaching in person.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's
Yeah,
the reason you were, yeah.
I met you through you did a little talk with the architects of Australia, and then we had a chat. And for me, it was so clear. This is what I had to do. And I jumped into the cold water. Yes, I invested the money and I believed that this is the future, and I wasn't disappointed. And this is my future, and so worthwhile doing it and investing that time, investing that money, and coming out at the end, never regretting that step, never
And
looking back.
then after the course, you couldn't stop with Passivhaus. You partnered up with Marta and Timo, right?
Yeah,
That
that's
that
correct.
was then happening afterwards. And you did
Exactly.
education events everywhere over Western Australia and trying to, I said like, yeah, we like to do this, but how can we live off this?
It wasn't
Yeah,
always easy, I
yeah,
must say. So it wasn't straightforward that I did the course and then bam, here I am, had a job. So there was a bit of
yeah,
work involved. As Daniel said, we tried a few different avenues and we tried educating people, and everyone was open for that, but no one wanted to pay us for it. But it came to that point where, Daniel and I got back in touch again. It was about a year later after the course, and then everything sort of fell into place.
So you were really committed to education. You wanted to go to university and teach Passivhaus at the university. That's the reason you reached
Exactly.
out to me. Then Timo then really started on his own and is now maybe the one that is doing most Passivhaus work in WA now.
Yeah.
Marta, she's still on the sustainable side and all, but she's all over the place. But that's Marta.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and you then reached out to me and said, "Hey, I want to redo the course because I have to teach. I want to teach it at the university, and for that, I want to do it again." And then I said, "Yeah, why not join me and
Yeah,
teach for me?" Yeah, and that's how the whole story started over
it's
five
been
years ago.
5 years.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like it's now, is it? It's just 5 years, or is it a bit more? It's like May was 5 years, or April was 5 years,
Exactly.
right?
It's 5
Yeah,
and
yeah,
yeah, 5 and a bit. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and then the pandemic hit hard. Yeah, it was like
Hmm.
interesting experience. Yeah, but anyway, so that's a little bit our story. But back to you guys. What is the reason for you to do it? Not just for your conscience and providing your clients a better building, better product. There is as well a reason for you to do it. You know that, let me explain it again, because
Hmm.
it's already 2 3 weeks back when we spoke about the economics, when we spoke about uh, that the financial burden for your clients will be a coffee a day in the first year. Then after 10 years, it's a 7-Eleven coffee. After 20 years, it's the financial burden is even. And after 30 years, they're getting a free lunch every single day. Yeah, financial burden means the actual physical money in their pocket. Yeah, it's the money they can additionally spend. So first, they can't go to a takeaway, like can't go for their favorite coffee place, and then it would be the same economical burden. Like then they were standing there economically the same than if they're building normal. Then it's a 7-Eleven coffee, and then it breaks even after 20 years. But this is just the money in your pocket. It's not the value that has been created with building better. Yeah, like they're having a better building. You know that, like the performance is better, the lifestyle is better, all that is better. But as well, the value of the property went up. Normally about 120, $125,000 in average. So obviously, depending on if you're building like a multi-million-dollar home, it's probably more. If you're building like a really small first home buyer house, then it's less. So you know it works for them, but how does it actually work for you? What is your economical advantage? Not just that you are learning and understanding it better. How can you actually make money with it? And that's what we're talking about today. Okay, let's jump in into the article Passivhaus Certified and Confident. So what are we talking about, Julia? What?
Yes. So we're saying that yes, it's an investment. So you're investing in your education, and but you are getting return on investment because you can charge more for your work when you're doing a passive house. So certified passive house designers can charge in this article we're saying $100 to $175 extra per square meter, and that's what the market reality is showing us around or across a lot of projects globally. And if we're then doing the math, it really turns out that your return on investment comes a lot quicker than you may think.
So let me break that down a little bit. So
Exactly.
we know that passive house costs between $400 and $500 more. Yeah, the design part of that, the part of what we have to do on the design part, is not 10% like you usually have in your architectural work. You normally take 10% of the project value, and here it's actually far more. It's actually a third, and that's the reason it's an additional $100 to $175 additional to your normal fees. That's your passive house designer fee on top of your architectural or building designer fee or engineer. Anybody can theoretically do the passive house designer work, as you don't need to draft so much. It's more understanding the numbers and the science behind it. So $100 to $175 more on a $200 square meter home would be between $20,000 and $35,000 additional in fees that you are able to get. You're not allowed to hold all of that. Yeah, like there's a few things we have to pay with that. We have to pay with that the blow door test. Yeah, that's a few $1,000s. Then we have to pay for the commissioning of the ventilation system. So it's another $2,000. Then we have to pay for the certifier with that as well. So the certifier fees are in there, but the rest stays with you. So it's easily like $10,000 that you are having more in your pocket. Easy. Yeah. Could easily be as well 20,000 depending on the project and the size and how much you're doing yourself at the end. Yeah, because theoretically you could do as well blow door testing and as well commissioning of ventilation systems, but going a bit far here. So now, if you think about the designer course right now, back in the day when Julia was doing it, it was actually more expensive because it was still in person. It was $5,500. Now it's $5,000. This $5,000, if you now look at $20,000, that's 4 times the investment with just one single passive house project. And you're not just able to use that knowledge on a passive house. You can use that knowledge on any building, and you can as well integrate passive house design fee components into your workflow. For example, you can do the energy modeling in Design PH. That's a few $1,000s you can already charge. Then you may do a simplified passive house PHWP calculation. It's another few $1,000s. And by that, you're getting more confidence that your sustainable measures that you're doing in your design are actually having as well a reason or return in it. And as well, you're getting paid for it. Yeah. So this education is directly creating a return of investment in just one project. Yeah, it's super, super fast. Cool.
You may ask yourself, after this calculation that Daniel has now brought, you may ask yourself, why would the clients pay those premium fees? But now you're giving them a premium expertise. Yeah, you have this expertise and that commands premium fees. And the clients are not just buying or building another house. They're now really investing into their family's health, comfort, and into their financial future, like we talked about in the last few weeks. And that I think Daniel always says passive house clients are better clients. Is that correct?
Yes, because people that value quality are normally easier to deal with. Like in the extreme, you can have two type of clients. One client is just saying, yeah, you do it. I believe in you. You do it right. These are the clients that you want to have. And the other ones, they're coming back to you and every single week they're changing something. Oh, I have seen here in Grand Design, we could do this and this and this. Oh, and this and this. Oh, no, I don't like this. And oh, is this color actually working? And these are the people that normally don't have the money. These are the people that are taking the most time and costing you the most, and you're not making a lot of money with it. But the ones that are saying, hey, I want quality. I know you're the person for it. I did my research. I want to go with you because I want the best. Yeah. And you have done the work. That's the reason why this type of clients are normally better. Passive house is science. Passive house is scientific. And that's the reason that people that are this type of people that are logic, they are science driven, they are the people that will come to you. Yeah. So one thing what they've noticed is that people often have problem to get their first few projects on the line or keep the passive house project coming because now you've done the course. Now you're motivated. Now you want to go and build passive houses, design passive houses and do all that work. But now you need to update your website, your email addresses, your email footers, your marketing material, your all that stuff. And that's the thing, what we have seen, that's the biggest hurdle for people now in the space. That's the reason we're offering now as well marketing. So that's a little side note. If you're interested in going into getting a professionally designed website that is specifically for passive house, for your local SEO and your local community that might want to have passive house, we can build that for you and we can put that together for you. It's a new service we're putting into place. And by this, we're helping not just people to learn how to do it, but as well to actually implement it so they have the clients and you can have that return of investment. So better clients are going for passive house. That's definitely the case because they want quality. And we know already, okay, they may not know yet, but you know already that if they understand the economics that I explained you already earlier in this article and as well in a former article, then you know that their financial burden is a coffee a day maximum. Yeah. And we haven't even talked about green loans yet. Yeah, that's a completely different story, but we go into that in another article where we say where you can actually have return of investment in day one. So this is the reason people soon they understand what is working. It sounds too good to be true. That's the only problem with it, but it is true and it works.
Yeah, I think it's also important to mention that you get a lot of recognition. So obviously, we have data has shown that passive house projects win a lot of design awards, and then from that on, so if you are able to win awards or get recognition for that, then your reputation grows. Yeah. So once your reputation grows, you get even more clients. So that's a win-win. So once everything is rolling, things might sort of really take off for you quite quickly.
Here as well an example. I don't know the numbers 100% any longer.
Mhm.
It's just from memories, but I think it's in one of our presentations. So in the year 2020, architectural awards for sustainability, I think was 12, 13 or 14 different rewards you could win. And the 6 of these awards were won by passive houses. So houses designed as passive houses. There were, I think, 15 passive house submissions, and overall there were about 250 submissions. So with a
Wow.
passive house submission, you more or less had a 50-50 chance or 1 in 3. And with the other submissions, as soon there are passive houses in, you're not winning anything. So really, if you want to win awards, if you want to be there and you want to show we are doing great work, then passive houses as well a good way to actually get that recognition as well.
And I also think it's so important to mention that, like it was for me, once I started with Passive House, I felt such a job satisfaction. So job satisfaction returns. It's more fun to work and to build a passive house. There's no more callbacks. There's, you can be sure that you're giving quality to your clients, and that is so important that you're happy with what you're doing.
Yeah, that's actually I believe there is no burnout. That disease burnout is not really existing. It's a problem of alignment between you and what you do. Yeah. So if you're working 10 hours, 15 hours, 16 hours a day, what can happen or as well over a long time frame is if as long as this is aligned, it's not a problem. I've been doing it for decades now, and I've worked 90 hours, 100 over 100 hours in a week. That was totally normal. For me, the alignment was there, but I had another health problem coming up. Instead of 90 hours, I do 60, 70 hours now. Yeah. Normally, if you have that alignment between what you do and you have a massive workload, it doesn't matter because you're aligned with it. And that's the biggest issue if you're just having annoying clients and you know that what you're doing is actually not what you're believing in and what you're standing for as a person, as a being. We can do far more. Like you can do, your capabilities are so big, much bigger. You are so much bigger if you allow to follow your calling and your meaning. I would have never thought that I actually built something like this, like a business that still far smaller than I think it will be in a few years, but the impact that this business already is having with training over 1,000 people that are applying this, designing better. This is thousands and thousands of projects that are already having a better result because of it. So yeah, if you align your work with your beliefs, then you can achieve the impossible. Yeah, and I've seen it as well in Julia, from where you started, Julia, and where you're now. Julia couldn't even be on camera back in the day. Like, she was so
True,
scared.
I turned the camera off in the first courses. I remember
Yeah,
that.
like you were so worried and so shy and insecure in a way. And now look to you now. Like it's
Mm.
the alignment is there now. You believe in what you do, and family life and work life, everything works together. So yeah. So yeah,
It's fulfilling.
it's fulfilling.
And
Yeah.
that's, I think it's the most important thing. You think about it, you spend so much time at work. If it's not fulfilling, then you sort of, I don't know, that makes you unhappy. And as you said, you burn out really quick. But if you love what you do and get up every morning, going, oh, I've got something great to do and I've got something with purpose and it fulfills me, and that's the best thing you can do.
Like many people spend more time with their work colleagues than with their life partners and their family.
Yes, the work
That is well
wife
a
and the
reality.
work husband.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So,
Absolutely.
so it,
100%.
you need to believe in this and you need to stay behind it. Otherwise, it's not working. So it's far more than just a course that gives you a return of investment and it's just money. It's really, this is the future of building. This is the way that we need to change. It's the first step in a whole staircase that we need to do, because the building industry has not done the industrialization and moving forward. The buildings we're building now and the city design we're doing now is not aligned with our lifestyle any longer. That needs to completely change. It's a bigger story than Passivhaus now. That's like the Smart Plus story. But we really need to get the physics right. We need to design our buildings to the physical need of us humans. And that's what Passivhaus is doing. It brings the requirement of us as an animal human being, what we need, in line with construction. That's what Passivhaus is doing. That's the reason I always call it the first step. We need to get that right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool.
And Daniel, you just mentioned a little bit the government and saying that we're not aligning with the lifestyle, but we see another thing happening coming from the government is that slowly, and maybe a bit too slow for our liking, regulations are actually changing and tightening across Australia and across Europe and other parts of the world. So energy codes will change over the next few years. And in the end, we will have higher expectations for buildings, higher client expectations. And if you learn Passivhaus now, then you're at the forefront of that movement and not lagging behind once these regulations are coming.
Yeah. So if you're applying what we're teaching, you're staying for a while at least ahead of what is actually required from a building physics, building science perspective, because you're so much ahead of where the regulation is. However, we can't wait for a regulation. The regulation is not changing. The regulation is adjusting through realities. So what do I mean? Let's look to the car industry, for example. Yeah, in a car, all what you need is a seat belt. Yeah, 2 mirrors, and that's the requirement more or less for a car, and then a chassis that is not completely crumbling together when you're having a crash. Yeah, but that is more or less the requirement of a car, and that your brakes are working. Yeah, I think you need a handbrake as well. But it's definitely not saying that you need an air conditioning system. It's not saying that you have to have 3 different mirrors and a front camera and a back camera and a radio and a stereo and an air conditioning and an airbag here and there and like 20 different airbags. All that is comfort that we are choosing because we want it. It's not the regulation. It's what we want. In the building regulation, everybody's saying, no, I don't want to do it because the regulation is not asking for it. But like, guys, it's not about regulation. It's about what we actually want. Like, the regulation is not telling you to have an aircon in your house either. The regulation is not telling you to have like wooden flooring in there. You can have something else in there. The regulation is not like, it's a choice of what you want, and it's a lack of understanding of the clients and knowledge of what they're actually gaining from it. So we need to create as well an understanding for the clients. And the building industry, when we compare it now with the transportation industry, the transportation industry already made the change from horses to cars and airplanes. Yeah, and robo taxis and air taxis and all that stuff. That's coming now. Like, it's going super fast. Yeah. We are still building horses in the building industry. We are still using technology that is 5,000 years old. Bricks, 5,000 years old. We're already using these bricks in this format, in these sizes, and it hasn't changed. Cement is being developed by the Romans over 2,000 years ago. We had to reinvent it 300 years ago because we lost the knowledge. But at the end, we had it already 2,000 years ago. So we are not coming from horses to cars by improving horses. We are not changing our building regulation for horses when we actually need cars. It doesn't work. So our regulations will never get us to cars in the building industry. Do you see that? Like this, the shift that is happening, I don't even know what the cars equivalent will be in the building industry, but I know we need to get the physics right, the science right. We need to get the human-centered design right And that is Passivhaus. And that's what Passivhaus is. And I believe to now we have been designing cities 2D. You need to design cities 3D. Yeah. Because cities, the biggest problem I'm seeing is now, like one of the biggest problem in the moment is the loneliness pandemic. Everybody is an individual and nobody's talking with each other. We don't have any longer this communities of little villages. Yes, the disadvantage is that everybody knows when you were doing something stupid, but on the other hand, the community holds together and creates a security and a safety net for everybody. And that's what is missing for a lot of people, including myself. Here, my family is not here. I'm working all the time. So I'm having as well, to some extent, that loneliness pandemic. If my work wouldn't be so fulfilling, I couldn't do what I'm doing right now. So I believe we need to design our apartment blocks as not apartment blocks, they're actually cities, vertical cities that are having in their communities, that have in their social workers, hospitals, doctors, kindergartens, retirement homes. And then that becomes a community that are living together, doing the gardening together, have communal gardens, and the social worker makes sure that everybody is fine. And that is paid, and not just the pool boy that is looking that there's no leaves in the pool. So okay, that's the bigger picture. That's not Passivhaus any longer. That's just my vision. I'm going crazy again. But
Look,
yeah,
I
Julia.
love, Daniel, that you're so, like, you can already see how passionate Daniel is about this, and how passionate I am about this. Hearing all of these advantages that you gain out of becoming certified, it really makes sense to go that way. Yeah, so that really transpires from this chat here with Daniel, and hearing him, sort of being so passionate about this always ignites this again, that it really makes so much sense.
And it has nothing to do with the certification, honestly. Like the
No.
certification is just the icing on the cake. We need to understand the human needs, the human-centric design that Passivhaus is giving us, so that what we're building now and in the future is actually in line with what we as this human being need. And that's the thing. That's the reason. That's the first step. The human, like if you're building extremely cheap houses that make people sick, what we are doing right now, then we are not winning. We need to change that. If you're building extremely cheap houses that people can't afford to live in because the conditioning is far too expensive, we're not winning. And who is suffering most with this? The poor. Because the people that are poor, they're spending far more money on their housing. That, like, Passivhaus brings that all together. It's so much bigger. I can't go in all of that, but it just makes sense to go down that step, to understand how it actually works, because even the step from normal building to Passivhaus is not the step yet from a horse to a car, but from a horse to a motorbike, probably. Yeah, already far more efficient. Yeah, but you need to get that engine design and that understanding of wheels and compared to hooves. That is the shift that we have to do, and that's what Passivhaus gives, that human-centric design on the really needs of the human body, what science told us over the last 150 years. Yeah. Okay, that was me going too far again.
Awesome. Cool. Maybe we should just for sort of finishing off this chat, maybe we should mention a little bit what you can expect from doing a course like that. So if you're sort of saying, oh, this is all very big, so how do we support students here at the Passivhaus HUB?
Okay, yeah, for sure. So first of all, you can even get your Passivhaus Designer Starter Kit. It's completely free, and it gives you already about 10 hours of content that you can get it on our website, or just reach out. That gets you started. In there, you get like recordings like this. You get your glimpse into the course. You get your quiz. Are you ready for the designer course? The benefits of the design, the benefits of living in it as a more course structure. So you get that as a bundle. But then when you do the course, the first part that everybody should do normally is the 101 course, because this is the designer course in short. It's enough knowledge to make you dangerous. Yeah. And you already heard everything. You heard the language, you heard the idea, you're understanding now this is the size of the forest. Yeah, you can't identify the trees yet, but you can see what's the field, what we're talking about. As well, we're brushing up your mathematics a little bit so that you're knowing how to use brackets again, plus, minus, what goes first, the dot or the point, the line. That's what we had back in Germany. I know you don't use that, but are you multiplying first or you first adding together? Yeah, things like that. And then, so that's the first, the 101. You start with this, and then you jump into the real course that gets you through it. And during the course, you're already doing your homework and exercises that prepare you for the exam. So maybe you want to talk about that, because that's what you've built over the last 5 years. This homework exercises, get them the confidence for the exam.
Yeah, absolutely. So we want to make sure that everyone is comfortable once they're sitting the exam. There's nothing worse than if you sit in an exam and you go, oh my God, I really don't know how to tackle this. Saying that, the exam is not a super easy exam. You have to prepare for it, but we are there every step of the way. Yeah, as Daniel said, while you're learning, we already provide you with homework and exercises that really are tailored to prepare you for this journey. Yeah, but not only like now you're saying, oh, I'm learning all this for the exam, but it really only gives you a deeper understanding of everything that we've learned in a particular module. So for example, we're talking about the U value, and now you're doing a U value calculation, really hones in that understanding what the U value actually is, even though you might not be doing a U value calculation by hand afterwards. But that understanding is something that's really, really important in my opinion. Also, we're doing energy balancing, gives you a really good idea of what's actually happening in the background. And then in the end, when you come to the exam, you sit there and you go, oh yeah, I've done this before. I'm really confident. And that's how we support our students.
Are we still using the ice skating hall in there? Are we still calculating an ice skating hall?
Yes, yes,
And as
that
well
has
as swimming
ice
pool, right?
skating and what is the other swimming pool. So we're
Swimming
doing a
pool.
hot and a cold example.
Yeah. So we get you out of the normal comfort zone. And
Yeah.
because we want you to think outside of the box. We don't want you just to follow a structure. We want you as well to actually understand what that actually means, and that the thermal comfort zone is not always from 20 to 25 degrees. Yeah, if you're running around naked in a swimming pool, you don't want to have a 20 degrees. That's too cold. Yeah.
No.
So in an ice skating hole, you don't want to have 20 degrees because your ice is slushy. Yeah, that's not ice any longer. So we there's a lot of thought in it what we are doing there.
Mhm.
And if Julia and I are not there to help you in that moment, we still have Amy there. Amy, our good friend that is there 24/7. Who's Amy?
Amy never sleeps. Hi, Daniel. Almost
Yeah,
like
she
you.
never sleeps. Yeah.
Yeah, Amy is our AI tutor that Daniel worked hard on developing, and I think this is brilliant. So if you're stuck on any problem any time of the day, you can just ask a question, and this tutor is trained so that it gives obviously the answers tailored to Passive House and knows all the Passive House standard in and out, and really, really good tool to help you along the way.
And it is designed that it actually tells you where you can find more in our material.
Yeah.
So it knows our material, it knows this, the standard, and it speaks in our language. So in Julia's and my language, in our teaching style. So because that is as well sometimes the problem, because there's so many ways of saying the same thing. Yeah, like you can delete, you can erase, you can eliminate, and all means the same at the end. Yeah, and with this, we have as well our formula sheet is like so color coded and thought through with everything. It's yeah, that was Julia's masterpiece at the beginning. Yeah, it's a document that makes your life easy as well for the exam, and people love it as
Absolutely.
well afterwards. Some people actually print it in A3 because it's so
Yeah.
it's so
Pin it
much
on the
deeper.
wall.
Yeah, exactly. Um, anything else to say to it? Um, there are CBD points you're getting with it. So
Yes.
we are actually giving you for every module a cert, and this cert is then giving you a CBD point. So we're breaking down our certification into 6 different certifications. So you can actually hand in these 6 certifications separately, and then the final one, done the whole designer course as a certification. And by that, you can hand it into the architects, to the engineers, to the builders, wherever you need it, and you're getting a win-win situation, or like a win-win-win situation. There's so many wins in there. Anything else to mention here? Q&A
Perfect.
session? Yeah, like we have our Q&A
Yeah,
sessions.
we can
Uh,
mention the Q&A. Obviously, our courses are now recorded, so it's self-paced, which has a lot of advantages because you can do it, you can learn at your own pace and in your own time. You don't have to take time off work. You can do it on the weekend or in the evenings, whenever it suits you best. But I think it's really important to have that personal connection. So I love seeing the students. So we have scheduled Q&A sessions. We run that 4 times a year, where we are calling it a cohort, and then we're coming together once a week, where we discuss Passivhaus, where we discuss the module, where we just get to know each other as well, because I think that's really important to have that connection and see that other people are doing the same thing. They have the same motivation. And it's just always a really nice session. I really enjoy getting to know the students and then support them in their journey. So I think that's really, really nice. We have different dates, so you can join when it suits you.
but that shouldn't stop you to buy it today. Yeah. So
No, because you can start learning today.
you can start learning today. Start with the 101 course, and I normally say as well, do the course multiple times because there's so much in it. You can't absorb it in one go. It's just too much. Like I really learned it when I started teaching it. Same probably for you, Julia. Like when you
Oh,
started teaching,
100%.
it really made a difference. So yeah, use the material as often as you can. And as well, after that, there is the alumni community. Yeah, so there's this community of professionals that are in line with your values because they've done the course. They know it's more than just a course, and they want to make a difference in the world, like every day a little bit. And if you're working together, we can do that. And this is the first step. The whole staircase, the Smart Plus movement, the Smart Plus Building Alliance. It's a different story, but that's then the next step. So first Passivhaus, and then we go into the next level up. So this is not a one time visiting and meeting us. This learning journey goes on, and believe me, it is mind blowing. The whole journey, what is ahead of us, the next 20 years, or let's say the next 50 years, are the most impactful 50 years that our species has ever seen. What we will go through in the next 50 years in our lifetime, it's amazing to be alive to see this change from a nearly analog, like for me at least, analog community to digital community, now moving to the AI community is unbelievable. So yeah, I want to welcome you on this journey, and hopefully soon we talk to each other.
Yeah, join us and see you soon.
See you then. Bye bye.